Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate each and every one of y'all coming by the channel to watch the video. I never take that for granted, so thank you very much for that. And guys, I got something really special I want to share with you in today's video. Yesterday, Hank Parker on his YouTube channel, he did like a question and answer session. And towards the end of the video, he was asked about forward-facing sonar, and his response and his analysis of forward-facing sonar is absolutely the most spot on, best. It's the best analyzation of it I've ever heard in my life. Everyone needs to watch this video. So I'm going to share this clip with you here just in a second. I think you guys are going to find it very enlightening. Also, guys, real quick housekeeping tip before we get started. Just wanted to invite everybody, if you haven't had a chance to subscribe here to Intuitive Angling, invite everybody to do that. And thank you everybody out there that's been using all the links in my description to support the channel. That's definitely much appreciated by me and my family. So thanks a lot for that. Okay, guys, to be honest with you, I am humbled. When you see this video, you'll know what I'm talking about. It actually almost brought a tear to my eye when I heard Hank talking. Means a lot to me. And one thing about Hank Parker, guys, I love Hank Parker. I've got a tremendous amount of respect for him as a person and an angler. Two-time Bassmaster Classic winner, Angler of the Year winner. He retired at the height of his career, at the top of his game. Probably would have won more classics if he would have stayed in it. But moreover, before I share this clip with you guys, Hank was my very first draw in a Bassmaster tournament. In fact, that little, in my thumbnail in this video, you'll see a little picture of me and Hank up in the top. That was at the St. Lawrence River in 1985, my very first competition day in Bassmaster competition, and I drew Hank Parker out, which I was thrilled to death. But was even more amazing, and what really gave me a lot of respect for Hank, is Hank didn't know who I was. I was just off the turnip truck from Missouri, my first tournament, and we got paired out pro on pro, boater on boater, and we got talking about our fishing, and he hadn't done all that great in practice, and I had a pretty good pattern going. And he goes, and at the time I had a little Ranger 340, which was a 16.5-foot Ranger with a 150. And Hank had a Ranger 350, which was a 17.5 model with a 150. And he goes, well, I'll tell you what, he goes, why don't we just take my boat and you can drive it? So Hank Parker let me drive his boat on my first competition day, a Bassmaster competition. So I'm out there idling around at the takeoff with Hank Parker in his passenger seat of his own boat. We both caught limits that day and both made the classic that year. So anyway, it was great. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to share the clip real quick with you guys here.
Electronics. I would say forward-facing sonar. Now, this is going to get real controversial. And I tried not to enter this arena. I tried not to throw my hat into the ring. I've listened to Randy Blockett. I like Randy. Randy and I are friends. And to be honest, I thought Randy was a little bit too critical. But the more I listen to him and the more I look at what's going on, I'm tending to agree with him. Now, I've never thought that Randy was being, as some people have said, over the top and just bitter. I've never thought that. I've always known he's been heavily opposed. But I didn't really see the amount of change that forward-facing sonar was bringing to fishing. And there are a lot of people out there that are winning tournaments today that really are not very versed in the sport of fishing. They really don't know very much. And if you took that forward-facing sonar away from them, they wouldn't really know what to do. And there are a lot of great fishermen that are now depending on forward-facing sonar that do know what to do, but they don't do nothing else because it's such a proven method for catching big fish. So I honestly think, truthfully, it is hurting our sport. I think it's hurting our sport in a lot of ways. One, it's expensive. And high school fishing is very near and dear to my heart. And there may be one or two kids that their dad has forward-facing sonar. The rest of the kids, the boats don't have them. And the kids that have them are dominating. And so now the other dads and the other boaters feel like we're going to have to add that. And the cost is prohibiting for a lot of them. So the playing field is no longer level. I just think it's hurting. People are not buying lures like they used to buy lures. They're just buying things that are compatible with forward-facing sonar. And I think it's hurting our sport. I've said you could not stop technology. And a friend of mine said, you're right, you can't. But do you realize that there is a rubber compound that they can put in a golf ball and make that golf ball go 30% further? Or put it in a baseball with the same impact from the bat, it'll go 30 to 35% further than a current baseball. That's technology. But the Major League Baseball League said no. It will ruin our sport. It will make our stadiums obsolete. It'll make all the history of home runs absolutely obsolete. The PGA says it'll destroy all the history of golf. So no, we're not going to allow it. And as I think about that, that's almost where fishing is today. Major League Fishing, bass, they're going to have to really look at this thing closely and say, okay, nothing wrong with technology, but it's messing up our sport. And we're going to have
Okay, guys, a couple things I want to say about that. First of all, a lot of times I feel like I'm sort of alone in the trenches on this fight against forward-facing sonar and how it's destroying our sport. And to hear somebody like Hank Parker come out against it like that, you guys that goof on me and are my haters out there, you can goof on me because I don't have, my career stats don't come close to Hank Parker's. So, you may not respect what I've done in the sport, but you've got to respect Hank Parker. If you don't respect Hank Parker, then you just need to take a seat and keep your mouth shut, because Hank Parker deserves respect. He is an icon in the sport. He's not only, one of the all-time greatest tournament fishermen, but, he's had his television show for a year. Just, has been a great ambassador for the sport for, over 40 years out there. So I just encourage everybody to really take time and listen to what Hank just said in this particular video. And please, whoever can do this, forward this video to Bassmaster and MLF, Chase Anderson at Bassmaster, Boyd Duck at MLF. Have them listen to what Hank said and listen to some words of wisdom here. Because, so many times, with this whole forward-facing sonar argument, people live in an information bubble and a silo, and they can't see beyond their own noses in the bigger picture. And I just really want to extend a huge thank you to Hank Parker for coming out against this, because I know a lot of people, a lot of pros out there feel exactly the way Hank Parker does, but very few of them have the courage to come out against it, because like what Hank said at the start of the clip, it is controversial. There is an element of, putting yourself out there. If you've got sponsors you're worried about offending, or if you've got fans you're worried about offending, or you don't want to make waves, or you're not, into, rocking the boat, which a lot of people are like that. They agree with what Hank's saying and what I'm saying, but they don't say anything about it. So I encourage everybody out there, all you guys out there, all you pros that have been around forever, that are keeping your mouth shut now, all you guys that are watching from the sideline, take a clue from Hank Parker, and speak out against this, because it is the good fight to fight. It's the right side of history. Down the road, years from now, guys, I can promise you, the people that worked their butt off and were adamant about getting this forward-facing sonar and exploding technology out of our sport are going to be considered the heroes of the sport, and the people that have enabled it are going to be considered the villains. You can mark my words on that. So again, thank you, Hank, very much for that. Much appreciated. We'll talk later, guys.